The new Madden NFL game is here, and just like every year, the approach to judging the game is a difficult one. There's the usual angle of assessing how much the series has been improved upon from the last release, while factoring in how the quality and level of content compares to other games in the genre, how strong the product is standing on its own, and the appeal and accessibility for novices versus those who pick it up annually. The Madden franchise has always seemed to try and straddle the line between being an authentic simulation, but with a tendency to cater to a more casual gaming audience. The vision of the development teams over time and influence of the executives above have changed often, resulting in an inconsistency that the other top sports gaming franchises have been able to avoid. Now, though, the current team has expressed the goal of creating the ultimate simulation. How did they fare with Madden NFL 16? Let's take a look at gameplay first. Madden has never been able to properly represent the urgency to catch the ball from receivers, and because of that, the offense has not been able to take advantage of some of their greatest weapons. When on defense, no one really had to worry about double covering or having help over the top of receivers like Calvin Johnson or Des Bryant. That changes with Madden NFL 16. New interactions with varied animations will play out between defenders and pass catchers. There are even new controls to go along with that, offering up the option of manually attacking the ball. Receivers can make the usual catches or trigger an aggressive catch, while defenders can choose to play the ball or the man. Of course, the balance here was key. If exploitable, online play would be ruined. Thankfully, the balance seems excellent to this point. Great receivers will make great plays, but not all of the time. Defenders will break them up, and the pass breakups often look fantastic. Or occasionally, they'll come away with an interception. Regardless of the outcome, the way it all plays out is spectacular compared to the past. Another factor into success is the deep ball accuracy of the quarterbacks. Poor accuracy QBs will tend to be way off target. It's a great relief to finally see some true incompletions that actually hit the ground, rather than most of them being ones that hit someone in the hands first. Accuracy of the QBs in general really plays a role in the passing game this year, something that was promised with Madden 15 but not actually delivered upon until now. Tackling has also been improved. Gang tackling is especially notable, and it's important because runners can break out of tackles. Players will continue to pursue and join in on the tackle or be there to take them down should they get out of one. The hit stick, though, seems to have been dramatically toned down, which is a bit of a disappointment. One hot topic of discussion over the years, and leading up to this release in particular, has been about penalties. Madden now has a more realistic representation of them, with flags being thrown more often and for different types of fouls. It's a great addition to the game that adds a feeling of authenticity and a challenge that teams have never had to face in the past, overcoming calls against them, just like teams in the NFL have to do every single game. One pet peeve that remains is the neglect to special teams. There is still no surprise onside kick or squib kick, and the blocking on punt and kick returns remains untouched for what must be going upon a decade. Extra points, which should be slightly more challenging this year at 32 yards, where NFL kickers make about 91% of that range, and even 2 were missed in the first week of this year's preseason, are not. It's still basically 100% in Madden, a complete waste of time. Challenges are also still flawed. Too often plays that should have been automatically challenged on scores or turnovers or close calls under 2 minutes in each half are not looked at again by the refs. Users don't get the opportunity to manually challenge those either because they're supposed to be automatic. There are a few major issues that have already been identified and will be patched at some point in the future. The biggest sees CPU-controlled players, whether on your team or your opponent's, randomly walking into the offensive line after breaking the huddle, which draws an encroachment flag. This has happened at least once in every game, and sometimes multiple times in a single drive or even a set of downs. Needless to say, that causes major frustrations beyond just the 5-yard penalty, as it can change the entire outlook of a drive, and it's completely out of the user's control. New to the game this year is Draft Champions mode. This borrows some conceptually from Ultimate Team, but is a short-term way to play, and allows you some level of influence in the players on your team and the makeup of your team. The game offers up 15 rounds of selections with 3 players to choose from each round. Even mixed into the pool of players are some legends. So teams will have 15 players rated 80 or so and above, and the rest in the low to mid-70s. There's interesting strategy involved in putting teams together, but the long-term appeal may be online. That's where now a level of variety and balance will be present that really isn't found in the typical world of ranked play now games, and you're never stuck with that team because you're back and redrafting after a few games. While Connected Franchise Mode remains the best of the very few online franchise modes in the genre, the work done to it this year was very underwhelming, and in some cases even detrimental. The best additions are the ability to simulate winners for specific games and free practice to use your teams in. This is key for getting accustomed to playing with new acquisitions, rookies, and those elevated due to injury. Game plan and confidence, the two features that made Madden 15's franchise mode worse than Madden 25's, return though with some tweaks. But really infuriating are the obtrusive drive goals that show up on screen. The number of pop-ups you'll see while playing in franchise mode are ridiculous. They can thankfully be turned off. However, as defaulted on, they're going to teach bad habits to players, encouraging them to do things that don't make sense in the context of the moment, and further suggesting that they increasingly pad stats for players. While the franchise XP and goal feedback can be turned off, unfortunately it must be done so by going into the menu and disabling it every single game. There is no universal setting for it to be turned off for good. A significant bug, again said to be fixed in the near future, relates to the in-game attributes for players, which are influenced by the drive goals and individual success. Players are getting boosted incredibly high during the games. In some attributes, their ratings are going well above 100, and even those who aren't seeing the field are finding themselves in the 90s. Scouting for the upcoming draft has changed significantly. Now you can only unlock the 3 highest attributes for a particular player, but doing so will reveal where they should be selected based on projected talent, which helps to uncover those who may be steals or busts. You also finally get free access to publicly available scouting combine information, including 40 times and bench press numbers. One concern relates to attribute ratings for draft classes, with speed in particular in the spotlight because of an adjustment that has been made this year that has it calculated based on 40 times plus age regression. What has stood out more than speed, though, are the QB accuracy ratings for rookies who come in with deep accuracy ratings that put them in the same class as Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, and Tony Romo. There isn't much new to the ultra-popular Ultimate Team mode, but minor adjustments have been made to improve the experience in general, along with new solo challenges. Playing draft champions will lead to earning some rewards for use in Ultimate Team. General online play has been decent, some input lag was noticeable, but overall it's been consistent. There is now no option to change uniforms, and you can't see what team your opponent has selected, which creates some new concerns and is another reason why Draft Champions Online may be the preferred way to play head-to-head now. One more thing to mention is the Prologue that opens up the game. It's unskippable and unpausable and is a mini-narrative experience. The production value is excellent, but technical issues hold it back. The frame rate for the cinematic scenes is awful and off-putting. The voice acting is also poor for most of the athletes that are involved. Still, it's a nice way to bring in novices, teach a few of the new features, and create a positive first experience upon first loading in. Madden NFL 16 is a game that has made some considerable strides on the field, but unfortunately appears to be one of the buggier releases the series has had in recent memory. It's a fun game with some interesting ideas that have even more potential for the future, but even with Madden 16, the franchise has yet to reach the elusive great tier of sports video games. Thanks for watching. Make sure to visit hitthepass.com and follow on Twitter @hitthepass and @pastapadre.